Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we are going to look at this gorgeous travel tripod from the company Peak Designs. Now Peak Designs is a company whose products I actually use quite a bit. In a prior video we took a look at a couple of things. First off, a beautiful backpack, which here the outdoor backpack, and I should say at this point, award-winning outdoor backpack. Peak Designs doing an amazing job with this design, and I do have to say their products work and function extremely well for many different scenarios. For me, it's kind of about the hiking and backpacking environment and my ability to carry my camera gear. You'll notice on this shoulder strap, there's this mount. And this mount allows me to basically use the shoe from the tripod on my camera and literally clip it right to the strap, which is really convenient. And this becomes kind of part of a camera system, the ability to film while you're on the go in the outdoors, whether or not you're in an urban environment or, for me, typically hitting the mountains or in the woods. So this here is the aluminum version. There are a couple of versions of this, but here the aluminum version, which is still a pricey tripod. These are not cheap. And the carbon fiber version is really not cheap, but incredibly well made, incredibly well designed, and for me, now helps me with my outdoor filming setup. Now, as you take a look at the packaging, you'll start to get an understanding of the Peak Designs flavor, their sort of touch and the taste that they have in their overall design. I love this black on black look. You can still read everything just fine, but it's just clean, nicely done, great attention to detail. From a packaging perspective, and I don't necessarily always care about the packaging, but it's just really impressive. Just a real nice look and initial impression. You can certainly use this as a travel case for this if you wanted to protect it. I don't think I necessarily would need to do that, but you can. But as we remove this from the packaging actually weighs quite a bit. This is a stout box. But you can see the tripod does come with a dedicated travel case. This is even to the point where the travel case has weatherized inverted zippers. I mean, take a look at that. Really nice, just impressive. Everything about Peak Designs, a little bit overbuilt in a way, but well engineered, well thought through, and incredibly well featured. The zipper going basically over the top and opening up here to the tripod itself. As I removed the tripod from the case, you'll notice there's this little loop, kind of helped me to pull the tripod out of there. And again, this tripod just beautifully designed and beautifully made. And you'll notice here again that sort of same adapter that you need for this particular style of tripod. Peak Designs stating that they took about 4 years to redesign the traditional tripod, and the most specific feature being it is the diameter or smaller than the diameter of a water bottle. So here you can see this is a titanium water bottle, pretty straightforward, and certainly the tripod, nice, narrow, slim, fits right in the side pocket of most backpacking backpacks, and I will say it is going to be the perfect companion for that outdoor Peak Designs backpack. So again, extremely nicely made. Now as I begin to open this up, this does come with a couple of accessories. We'll go through that in a little bit of detail, but nicely protected, everything just really well done. Again, right out of the box, comes with everything you need to maintain this tripod and gives you a little bit of information if you need it. And as we go through the specifications, the weight capacity for this, first off, around 20 pounds. That's going to be a fairly heavy camera setup. For me personally, I'm using a mirrorless camera, which are fairly light, even with heavy glass not too bad. Certainly a full SLR and many video camera setups would have no problem for this tripod. Now this aluminum version weighing in at 3.44 pounds, so does have quite a bit of weight to it. It's not crazy heavy, but still a reasonable amount of weight, everything considered. The carbon fiber does lose a good amount, and especially if you're counting ounces, dropping it down to 2.81 pounds. So a little more than a half a pound there. This collapsed length here, this is 15.5 inches. And then as we get this fully deployed, it can go all the way to 60 inches. There are 5 full leg sections, which is incredible. I mean, that's definitely more than most tripods. A lot you'll get either 3 or 4, 5 leg sections here on the Peak Designs. Aluminum cam leg locks. So as you take a look at these leg locks, wow, real smooth, just buttery smooth. And that is probably the smoothest mechanism I have ever felt on a tripod. I mean, that is just so smooth. Opening these up, beautiful, nice machining, really tight tolerances, no slack or like wiggle room there. And once you lock that down, even more locked into place. Rubberized feet right on the bottom. And as you take a look, those are held in with hex heads. Makes me think you could probably add spikes to this if you needed to. I personally never do that, but I'm sure some people do. Again, as you take a look at the top here, this is that standard plate. So nice actually having a second one of these. I've pretty much been rocking only a single plate for a long time, and it means I need to trade it on and off of different equipment. So nice to have a second plate. Adjustment tools mounted right on the side of the tripod. That's awesome. You can see just a real clever little design clipping these onto the side. So your hex keys right there, very simple. Just pull them out. Nice little design there. That is just clever. And then again, slipping them back into place. So that's a real cool feature. I like that quite a bit. Opening up the tripod legs here, these should go nice and flat, which as you depress these levers, you can see allows you to open this nice and wide. If this is fully open, you cannot depress it. You need to just kind of move the leg in just a little bit. Again, you can see that will not press down when they are fully open. So just squeeze them in just a little bit, press that down, and then that will open up. Tension knob here, raising that up. That's your lowest position here. And you can see as this sits flat and down on the workspace here, nice and wide, stout, going nowhere, extremely secure. That's awesome. On the bottom, you can see there is a hook, so you can attach a weight or a bag so that you can weigh this down just a little bit. It helps with breezy conditions or unstable conditions to hold the tripod where you need it. Now, in order to rotate and adjust the head, basically at this point, there's a collar you can see has some ribbing. You spin that, and at this point, this will swivel around that ball head. This can go to 90 degrees, so as you see here, going to 90 degrees. And then once you have it where you like it, pretty much just going to lock this in place, and that holds everything sturdy. Now, Peak Designs is saying that this particular piece right here, as you rotate it, can help to reduce camera shake. I'm not exactly sure how that's supposed to work. Only a little bit of practice will prevail. But again, as you take a look at it here, this particular ring right here, and of this entire tripod, the only thing to me that feels just a touch plasticky or just a little bit cheaper is this particular ring. It would almost be nice. I can't say for sure. I don't believe that's aluminum. I think that's plastic. So to me, the only weakness I see in this so far is on this particular ring. And just to show that this particular lock is actually locking this mechanism, you can see at this point that will depress all the way to allow you to get the plate underneath, no problem. And then locking that down, it really does prevent this from moving, and everything in between just having a little bit of give, a little bit of play until it's fully locked down. So that seems to be a very effective mechanism. Now this hook on the bottom is fairly unique. There are some goodies inside here. You can pull this down and twist and it will release and it removes the hook. But inside, this is a phone holder. So theoretically, I have the ability to attach my phone, which as you take a look at this is spring-loaded. And then if I take my actual phone and slide it in there, yeah, I mean, that fits. So very cool. I mean, the ability to get your phone in there, that's sweet. And you'll see that the phone adapter literally fitting right down and underneath, and then just connecting into place here. It actually indexes right under there and will hold your phone right in place. Then you can leverage your lock and lock this into place, and that won't come out. I mean, that is just strong and solid. So the phone mount seems to be very effective as well. That is just an awesome feature. And stowing this back all the way, very simple. Just collapse everything, slide that triangle right in there, grab your hook, press that into place, and you kind of need to just like press on the hook and twist. That's an interesting mechanism. I hope this all holds up. It seems to be well made. Only time will tell. Now, just a few last details. Of course, everything can be adjusted. Again, we already talked about having the hardware, all the legs, all the screws, everything can be adjusted. So if this loosens up over time, you can get right on it. If you look closely, you'll notice that there is blue Loctite in most areas. It's hard for you to see it, but there is blue Loctite in most areas, which should definitely help preserving this and making sure that nothing loosens up over time. The blue Loctite right underneath there. You do have the ability to put this into the low mode, which I am not going to do. They provide you with all the instructions to do that. And basically what that's going to do is get this all the way down to that single section. You can see there's a break there. That would allow you to mount just this piece on the tripod and get super low. I opt not to do that at this point. And last but not least, this does have a bubble level, which is pretty cool. So if you're fussy about your shot and you want to get everything fully lined up and just perfectly level, you can certainly do that. And it's nice that that bubble level is right on here. But at this point, I feel like that covers most of the details. Let's get outside and put this to some practical field use. Now to get into some of the details here, I do have 3 of my, at this point, go-to tripods. Lightweight Benro here. You can see this is pretty much for me right at chest level. Here's the peak design. Comes up to just about chin level. And then here, another Benro. This here is just like a heavy-duty, real heavy-duty tripod. Comes up over the top of my head. So just generally speaking, this gives you kind of an indication of where the peak design lands. It's sort of right in the middle. So it's not going to be your compact, lightweight design. It's not going to be your heavy hitter, but it's going to land you right in that sweet spot, right in the middle. In terms of the mechanisms here on the lightweight carbon fiber Benro, it's cool, but you know, you got to twist these fold them up, and then you'll see there's actually 3 segments. 1, 2, 3 segments. So that works out well, and that actually makes this quite compact. But again, sometimes twisting these is just a little bit of a pain in the neck. Whereas the Peak Designs, in my opinion, is about the best mechanism I've ever used. Literally just lift these, very simple. So they're smooth, they operate extremely well. Again, very simple, and you can do it very quickly. And then just collapse. 1, 2, 3, 4 full segments, excellent levers, and you can see even more compact. And the big heavy monster barely fitting in the frame. Here you can see 1, 2 lower segments, large levers, but generally speaking, far too big to carry with you. Now, where the Peak Design has me just a little bit bummed out is in the weight category. Throwing it on my scale, I'm going to say here 3 pounds, 10.5 ounces versus the Benro 2 pounds, 5.6. So in reality, for something that's, going to be a travel option, for me, the pounds don't make sense. So if I'm going on vacation and I need something that's going to be large enough yet light enough, I'm going to pick the Benro, even though I feel like the Peak Designs is nicer. And I can make this very compact for travel simply by pulling the center rod out, and then that makes it very compact for my ability to pack it in my luggage. And so even though, it's a little bit longer, the fact that it's lighter and in some ways equally narrow, so it really doesn't take up too much in the way of a footprint, I find this to be more advantageous. So generally speaking, Peak Designs does make the carbon fiber version, which I would love, but even the carbon fiber version I don't think is nearly as light as the Benro, but I will annotate that below. And just finally, look how nice the Peak Designs tripod fits inside the Peak Designs backpack. Absolutely perfect fit. Literally, I believe, I would at least have to believe, that Peak Designs literally designed this pocket specifically to hold this tripod. I would have to think they did, because it is so perfect for it. Literally fits in there as good as you could ask for. So that's very nice. I love when companies think about integration of their products and how they all work together. And that's what you get here from Peak Designs. And so all in all, there is no doubt that this tripod is very nice. It's kind of in the middle. It's not that big, heavy, overbuilt, robust tripod. It's not that super lightweight or compact tripod, but it's right in the middle. I do think their carbon fiber version would probably be better for somebody looking to go further, carry this in a backpack, something like that. And for me personally, even when I'm traveling, I want something that's just a little bit lighter. This has become an awesome tripod for me for filming my reviews. I do really like this as a general duty tripod. I think from that perspective, it works very well. If you're a photographer shooting weddings or events, this would be a great option because it's robust and stout enough, it's durable enough, and I've actually dropped this a couple of times, and like an idiot, but I did, and it's held up just fine. A couple of nicks, couple of digs here and there, but no problem. It's stout, it's robust, it's built well. And I like the functionality. The quick ease of deploying the legs, that's awesome, very simple. And where, gigging photographers need the ability to set up and break down quickly and easily and effectively, this works very well. So from that perspective, that's where this really comes into play, in my opinion. So travel tripod, hard to say. Bringing it in your luggage, in your suitcase, a little bit heavy. Am I going to backpack with this? Absolutely not. Would I gig with this? 100%. So to me, I think this is really falling to that working photographer. I love the overall features. It works well for me for my reviews, and I do have to say, overall, extremely nice, and I like it. To the people at Peak Designs, thank you so much for providing this for review. If you like what you see here today, look in the description box below for all of the relevant links. Follow along with the rest of my Outer Limitless channels. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.